Welcome to Crisis in Perception, where we examine the systems shaping our world, one book at a time.
Today, we are undertaking a deep dive into a book that has, well, really become a phenomenon. James Clear's Atomic Habits. Tiny changes, remarkable results.
It really has, and I think it's because it addresses a pain point almost everyone feels. For so long, the conversation around personal change or, personal failure was framed as a character flaw.
Exactly. The narrative was always, you failed to stick to the diet, or you didn't learn that language.
And the reason was always internal, right? It was you. You didn't have enough willpower.
Or you lacked motivation, you just didn't want it badly enough.
It's such a demoralizing way to look at it. It leads straight to self-blame, to burnout, and this feeling that, I don't know, you're somehow fundamentally broken when you inevitably slip up. It's just not a sustainable way to think about change.
It isn't. And that's where Clear's work provides this crucial systemic corrective. It just completely shifts the lens. He takes the focus off the individual's, moral failing and points it directly at the infrastructure around them.
The system.
The system. The core diagnosis moves from a problem of poor motivation to a problem of poor system design. It's a very powerful idea. If you can't change a habit, the problem isn't you, the problem is your system.
I think that one sentence is the key that unlocks the entire book. It's so liberating. It takes all the effort from this constant, exhausting act of self-control.
Yeah, that white-knuckle effort.
And it transfers it to, well, simple architectural work. It makes change a matter of engineering, not self-flagellation. So our mission in this deep dive is to really focus on those architectural elements.
Right.
We want to get into the role of identity, the incredible power of your environment, and how we use, or more often fail to use, feedback loops to really cement these behaviors.
And we are deliberately steering clear of the short-term productivity hype here. This isn't about life hacks.
No, this is about the hard mechanics of sustained structural change, the kind of change that defines who you actually become.
To really get that, I think we have to understand where the idea even came from. James Clear's own experience is, it's central to the whole framework. He didn't just come up with this in a vacuum.
Right, he lived it. He built it out of necessity after a really major trauma.
It's a shocking story, actually.
It is. It happened on the last day of his sophomore year of high school. He's playing baseball, and a classmate takes a practice swing, loses his grip on the bat.
And it hits him directly in the face.
Directly in the face. And the impact was, catastrophic isn't too strong a word. Multiple skull fractures, crushed nose, 2 shattered eye sockets. It was bad.
It caused severe brain swelling. He was put into a medically induced coma. When he woke up, he had post-traumatic seizures, temporary double vision, and he'd even lost his sense of smell.
And just the physical reality of that recovery, he had to learn basic motor patterns again. Just walking in a straight line was a challenge.
And for someone whose whole identity was wrapped up in being an athlete, his dad had played minor league ball, it was devastating. He got cut from the varsity team his junior year.
Can you imagine? That's a profound blow to who you think you are.
Absolutely. But the turning point didn't come from some, movie montage moment of inspiration. It happened when he went to college at Denison University.
And he didn't try to make some huge transformation.
No. He just focused on getting his life in order through these incredibly small daily behaviors. He started with just making his bed every morning.
Something that simple.
That simple. He made sure his messy dorm room was tidy. He worked on his sleep habits. He just meticulously improved his study habits until he was getting straight A's.
Those are the atomic habits. They're microscopic, but they gave him back a sense of control when everything else had been stripped away.
And the results, when they compounded, were astonishing. 6 years after that injury, he was named the top male athlete at his university and an ESPN academic All-American. He got there not through one big push, but through this endless series of tiny, consistent improvements.
And that lived experience really is the foundation of the whole system, isn't it? It boils down to this one core thesis.
That lasting, substantial change is the product of daily systems and these tiny, consistent improvements that reinforce a desired identity.
Not massive goals, not bursts of emotion.
No, it's the system. And that's why he has that mantra that really sticks with you. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your system.
If the system is broken, the goal just doesn't matter.
It's irrelevant. You're not aiming for the mountaintop. You're just focused on building a reliable staircase so you can take at least one step every single day.
Okay, so let's unpack that core idea of tiny changes because the math behind it is actually pretty stunning.
It really is. Clear uses this metaphor that habits are the compound interest of self-improvement.
Which is such a powerful force. We understand it with money, but maybe not with our own habits.
Exactly. And the numbers don't lie. If you commit to getting just 1% better every single day for a year,
Just 1%, it feels like nothing.
it feels like nothing, but you take 1.01 and you multiply it by itself 365 times, and at the end of the year, you are nearly 37 times better than when you started.
37 times. That's not linear. That's exponential growth.
It is. And the scary part is that it works just as powerfully in reverse. If you get 1% worse every day, a bad habit, a poor choice, that 0.99 multiplied 365 times, you end up almost back at zero.
So a single choice feels totally insignificant in the moment. But the trajectory over years, that's what determines everything.
This is why he says outcomes are a lagging measure of our habits. They tell you where you've been, not where you're going.
I like that. So your net worth is a lagging measure of your financial habits.
Your physical health is a lagging measure of your eating and exercise habits. Your knowledge is a lagging measure of your learning habits. You get what you repeatedly do.
So if you want a better result, you have to stop obsessing over the current result and start focusing on the trajectory, on the system.
That's it.
Okay, but that brings us to the big problem. The reason most people fail, he calls it the plateau of latent potential.
The valley of disappointment.
Right. You commit to these small changes. You go to the gym, you save a little money, you write 500 words a day, and for weeks, maybe months, nothing happens.
You see zero tangible results. It feels completely meaningless.
Yeah.
And that's the valley where good intentions go to die.
Because our brains are just not wired for delayed gratification. We want to see the progress now.
We do. But the key insight here is that the work is not wasted. It's being stored.
He uses that ice cube analogy, which is just perfect.
It's a great visual. If you have an ice cube in a room that's 25 degrees, and you slowly heat the room, 26, 27, 28 degrees.
Nothing happens. The ice cube is still an ice cube. It feels like all that energy is being wasted.
But it's not. It's being stored in the system. Then you hit 32 degrees, and in an instant, you get this massive, visible change, the melt.
What the world calls an overnight success.
Right. It's just the moment when all that latent potential is finally revealed. The breakthrough is just the result of all the work that came before it.
Which completely shifts how we should approach change. It's not about the outcome, it's about who you want to become.
Exactly. This gets us to the 3 layers of behavior change. On the surface, you have outcomes, what you get, like losing 20 pounds.
Okay.
Deeper down, you have processes, what you do, like following a diet or going to the gym.
Right.
But at the very core, the deepest level is your identity, what you believe about yourself.
And the argument is that true, sustainable change has to start from the inside out. It has to start with identity.
It has to.
Yeah.
Because if your goal is just the outcome, losing the weight, what happens when you hit it?
You stop doing the things that got you there. You revert.
You revert back to your old identity. But if your goal is to become a healthy person, that habits are just an expression of who you are. The goal isn't to read a book, it's to become a reader.
The goal isn't to run a marathon, it's to become a runner.
Exactly. And identity isn't some abstract concept, it's tangible. You build it. Every time you perform a habit, you are casting a vote for the type of person you want to be.
So it's about accumulating evidence.
Yes. The process is simple. First, decide who you want to be. Second, prove it to yourself with small wins. Clear became a writer by publishing articles every Monday and Thursday, week after week. The evidence piled up until the identity was undeniable.
So once that identity is driving the system, it becomes this powerful, self-reinforcing loop.
And that loop has a very specific mechanical structure. It's a 4-step neurological process.
This is how a habit actually works in the brain.
Right. It's an efficiency system the brain develops. The loop is cue, then craving, then response, then reward.
Okay, let's break that down. The cue is the trigger.
The thing that signals to your brain that a reward is nearby. The notification on your phone, the smell of coffee.
The craving is the motivational force, the desire for a change in state.
You don't crave the cigarette, you crave the feeling of relief it provides. You don't crave turning on the TV, you crave the feeling of being entertained or distracted.
Then the response is the actual habit you perform.
Picking up the phone, smoking the cigarette.
And finally, the reward. It satisfies the craving and tells your brain, hey, this loop is worth remembering for next time.
Precisely. And from that simple neurological loop, Clear derives the 4 laws of behavior change. They're the practical rules for designing your system.
Okay, so let's map them out. For the cue, the first step, the law is make it obvious.
Correct. For the craving, the motivational part, you have to make it attractive.
For the response, the action itself, you make it easy.
And for the reward, to close the loop, you must make it satisfying.
And to break a bad habit, you just flip them. Make it invisible, unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying.
That's the entire framework. And this is where the real architectural work begins.
Okay, let's get into that system mapping then. Law number one, make it obvious. This feels like it has to start with just knowing what you're doing in the first place.
It does. It starts with self-awareness. So many of our behaviors are non-conscious. The cookie jar on the counter, the social media icon on your phone's home screen, they're just part of the background, but they are constantly acting as cues.
This is where he suggests that habits scorecard, literally writing down everything you do in a day and marking it as positive, negative, or neutral.
Just that act of making the unconscious conscious is, for many people, a huge first step.
But the power of consciously acknowledging a cue is maybe best shown by that Japanese train operator system, pointing and calling.
Oh, it's a fantastic example of a systemic solution. The operator doesn't just look at the signal. They physically point at it and say out loud, "Signal is green."
So they're engaging multiple senses: sight, touch, speech, hearing.
Right. It raises the awareness from a non-conscious, automatic level to a conscious, deliberate one. And the results are incredible. It reduces errors by up to 85% and accidents by 30%.
And it has nothing to do with the operator's motivation on that particular day. It's the system doing the work. The MTA in New York adopted a version of it and saw a 57% drop in certain incidents.
It's just proof that making the cue obvious works. But the environment itself is the most powerful cue of all. We're constantly reacting to the choice architecture around us.
That study at Massachusetts General Hospital is the perfect example.
It is. Anne Thorndike wanted to improve eating habits without lecturing anyone.
So no posters, no pamphlets, no motivational speeches.
Nothing. She just redesigned the environment. The refrigerators by the cash registers only had soda in them. She just added bottled water to those same fridges and put baskets of water elsewhere.
So she made the better choice, the more obvious choice.
Exactly. And over a few months, soda sales dropped by 11.4% and water sales shot up by 25.8%.
All from just changing the placement.
The insight is that we often choose things not because of what they are, but because of where they are. Our visual sense is so dominant. Visual cues are the greatest catalyst for our behavior.
So we have to become the architects of our own environment. Prime it for success. If you want to read more, don't leave the book on the shelf.
Put it on your pillow.
If you want to take your vitamins, don't hide them in the cabinet.
Put the bottle right next to the coffee maker or your toothbrush. Make the cue for the good habit impossible to miss.
And the inversion of this for bad habits is just as powerful. Make it invisible.
The classic study on this is the Vietnam War veterans who were addicted to heroin.
A huge percentage of them were using heroin over there.
A huge percentage.
Yeah.
But when they came back to the U.S., 9 out of 10 of them quit almost overnight.
Why?
Because the entire environment changed. The cues were gone, the stress, the social context, the easy access, all of it vanished.
Yeah.
The temptation became invisible.
So what we call disciplined people, they aren't necessarily using more willpower.
No, not at all. They're just better at structuring their lives to avoid the cues for bad habits in the first place. They spend less time in tempting situations. You move the junk food off the counter, you put your phone in another room when you need to focus, you remove the cue, you reduce the craving.
Which is a perfect segue into the second law, make it attractive. This is where we get into the neurology of desire.
It is. And it's all about dopamine. The really critical insight from neuroscience is that dopamine is released not just when you experience pleasure, but more powerfully when you anticipate it.
So it's the wanting, not the having.
It's the wanting. The reward system in your brain goes crazy in expectation of a reward. Think about a gambler. The big dopamine spike happens right before they place the bet, not necessarily when they win or lose.
So the craving is what drives the action.
It is, and this is why we're so vulnerable to what are called supernormal stimuli.
What does that mean exactly?
Well, our brains are still the Paleolithic brains of our ancestors. We evolved to crave things that were rare and valuable for survival, like salt, sugar, and fat.
Right, finding those things was a huge win.
A huge win. But modern food scientists have engineered products that exaggerate those natural cues to an insane degree. They create combinations of textures and flavors, like the crunch and creaminess of an Oreo, that our brains just aren't equipped to handle.
It keeps the experience novel and makes us overconsume.
And it's not just food. Social media is a supernormal stimulus. It gives you more concentrated doses of social approval and novelty in 5 minutes than you might get in a week of real-world interaction.
Our ancient brains just can't resist these modern, highly engineered versions of reality.
They can't. Another powerful way to make habits attractive is to leverage social imitation. We are fundamentally herd animals. Our deepest desire is to belong.
So we copy the habits of the people around us.
Specifically, we imitate three groups: the close, the many, and the powerful.
The close is about proximity, right? Your friends, your family.
Exactly. There's a famous study showing that if your close friend becomes obese, your own risk increases by 57%. We just absorb the norms of those we spend time with.
Then there's the many, herd mentality.
We want to conform to the group. There's a tremendous pressure to just do what everyone else is doing. We'd often rather be wrong with the crowd than be right alone.
And the powerful. We copy people we admire, people with status.
We see their habits as attractive because we associate them with success and prestige. The story of the Polgar sisters in chess is a perfect example of a family culture making an extreme habit seem totally normal and desirable.
Okay, so knowing this, how do we use it? How do we make a necessary but unattractive habit more appealing?
The technique for this is called temptation bundling. You link an action you want to do with an action you need to do.
Ah, like the student who hacked his exercise bike.
Ronan Byrne, yeah.
Yeah.
He wanted to watch Netflix, but he knew he needed to exercise. So he rigged his stationary bike to only power the TV if he was cycling at a certain speed.
He bundled the want Netflix with the need exercise. That's brilliant.
It makes the hard thing attractive because it's paired with an immediate reward you're already craving.
Which leads us right into the third law, because often the things we need to do feel difficult. So, law 3. Make it easy.
This one is just fundamental to human nature. The law of least effort. Our brains are hardwired to conserve energy.
We're not lazy, we're efficient.
We are evolutionarily smart. Given two options, we will naturally gravitate toward the one that requires less work. You see this on a huge historical scale.
Like the spread of agriculture.
Exactly. Jared Diamond's work shows agriculture spread way faster across Eurasia than it did in the Americas. Why? Because Eurasia is mostly oriented east-west. Similar climate, similar daylight.
Less friction.
Far less friction to spread crops. The Americas are north-south. Radically different climates. You had to constantly invent new farming for new zones. The friction in the environment constrained human behavior for centuries.
So if you want a habit to stick, you have to ruthlessly reduce the friction associated with it.
You do. This is why automation is so powerful. The invention of the cash register wasn't just about counting money. It automated the habit of being honest by making theft difficult.
It reduced the friction of doing the right thing.
And we do this all the time with technology. Setting up automatic transfers to your savings account. Subscribing to healthy meal kits. It's addition by subtraction. You eliminate the points of friction where you're likely to fail.
And to really nail this law, Clear introduces the 2-minute rule.
Which is so crucial and often misunderstood. The rule is, when you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do.
So read every day becomes read 1 page.
Do yoga becomes take out my yoga mat. Run 3 miles becomes put on my running shoes.
The habit is the entry point, not the end point.
Exactly. It's about mastering the art of showing up. The goal of the first 2 minutes is just to make the start of the process easy and automatic. Anyone can read 1 page. The momentum often carries you further, but even if it doesn't, you've still cast a vote for your new identity.
You're reinforcing the identity of someone who doesn't miss workouts, even if the workout is just putting on your shoes.
Repetition is what matters, not perfection. And for bad habits, you do the opposite. You use the inversion.
Right.
Make it difficult. You create friction.
This is where commitment devices come in, like Victor Hugo locking away his clothes.
A pretty extreme example, but yes. He couldn't go outside, so he was forced to stay in and write. He created massive friction for the bad habit of procrastination.
A modern version might be using an outlet timer to shut off your Wi-Fi at 10 p.m.
Perfect. You use your rational, motivated self now to lock in good behavior for your future, less motivated self. You make the bad decision difficult later on.
Okay, that brings us to the final piece of the loop. Law 4, make it satisfying. This is what makes you repeat the behavior next time.
And this law is designed to fight a fundamental mismatch in our brains, something called time inconsistency.
Our Paleolithic brains in a modern world.
Exactly. Our brains evolved in an immediate return environment. You see a berry, you eat it. You see a lion, you run. The feedback is instant.
But we live in a delayed return environment. The reward for saving for retirement is 40 years away. The reward for not eating the donut is maybe you weigh a little less next month.
Right. The rewards for good habits are delayed, but the rewards for bad habits are immediate. Smoking might kill you in 10 years,
Yeah.
but it relieves stress now.
That mismatch makes bad habits incredibly seductive.
It does. So the solution is to find a way to bring an immediate reward into the good habit. We need instant satisfaction.
The study in Pakistan about hand washing is a perfect illustration of this.
It's beautiful. They knew people should wash their hands, but consistency was low because the reward, not getting sick, is invisible and delayed.
So what did they do?
They partnered with Procter & Gamble and provided a premium soap, Safeguard. And this soap was designed to be pleasant, it smelled good, it lathered up nicely.
So it made the act of hand washing immediately satisfying on a sensory level.
Instantly. The good smell, the rich foam, that was the immediate reward that closed the loop. And the results were stunning. Disease rates plummeted. But years later, after the free soap was long gone, over 95% of households still maintained the habit. The immediate satisfaction had made it stick.
But what about habits of avoidance? Like, don't spend money frivolously. There's no action to reward. How do you make doing nothing satisfying?
You have to make avoidance visible. This is a brilliant little trick. You open a savings account and name it something you really want. Trip to Europe.
Okay.
Every time you resist a frivolous purchase, say a $5 coffee, you immediately transfer $5 into that account.
Ah, so you turn the feeling of deprivation into a feeling of immediate progress. You see the trip getting closer.
It makes doing nothing immediately satisfying. And finally, you can add an immediate cost to bad habits using a habit contract.
This leverages our fear of social judgment.
It does. Brian Harris, an entrepreneur, made a contract with his wife and his trainer. It laid out his fitness goals and the punishments for failing.
And the punishments were specific.
Oh, very. If he missed a protein goal, he had to pay his trainer $100. If he missed a workout, he had to wear a suit to work every day for a quarter and wear the hat of his favorite football team's most bitter rival.
Ouch. That's immediate, tangible, and socially embarrassing pain.
It's a powerful, immediate consequence that makes the delayed negative outcome of the bad habit feel very, very real right now.
You can really see how all four of these laws work together to create an almost inescapable system, for good or for bad.
Now, if we zoom out from the individual, we can see these same principles at work in high-performing organizations. It's proof that systems, not just individual talent, drive results.
You're thinking of Pat Riley and the Career Best Effort program with the Lakers in the 80s.
Exactly. I mean, here you have a team of superstars, Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They're already at the top of their game.
So how do you get them to improve?
Riley knew he couldn't just say, try harder. He implemented a system. He tracked tiny, specific metrics for every single player, rebounds, assists, even positive defensive plays. He created a custom CBE number for each of them.
And the goal wasn't some huge leap.
No, the mandate was deceptively simple. Improve your personal CBE number by just 1% over the course of the season.
So he was applying that 1% rule at a team level?
At a systemic level.
Yeah.
It wasn't about winning any single game. It was about ensuring the process of getting better was continuous. And that system led them to back-to-back NBA championships. That's a perfect example of a system driving peak performance.
But these same systems can also trap us, right?
Yeah.
Especially in our digital environment.
Oh, absolutely. The digital world is the ultimate engine for supernormal stimuli. Every notification, every endless scroll, every like button is a highly optimized cue.
They're designed to be obvious, attractive, and easy.
Perfectly so. And if you don't consciously design your own digital environment, you become a passive consumer of an environment someone else has designed to capture your attention.
So you have to fight back by creating intentional friction.
You have to. Remove the apps from your phone. Use grayscale mode to make the screen less attractive. Use software to block the internet. You have to be the architect, or you'll just be a resident in someone else's building.
This also brings up a really important warning from the book, which is known as Goodhart's Law.
When a measure becomes a target, it ceases to be a good measure.
The danger of optimizing for the wrong thing.
Exactly. You see this in business all the time. If a call center measures success only by how short the calls are.
The agents will just rush people off the phone to hit their numbers, even if the problem isn't solved.
Right. They optimize for the metric, but they destroy the actual goal, which is good customer service.
And you see it in education with standardized testing, or personally, when someone obsesses over getting 10,000 steps but ignores their diet or sleep.
We have to constantly ask ourselves, if we are measuring the right thing. Because if we optimize only for what's easy to quantify, we often neglect what's truly important. The system will produce exactly what you measure, so you better be sure you're measuring what matters.
Taking this a level higher into the broader themes of the channel, the book is a powerful argument for prioritizing systems over individual blame. But it also raises the question of picking the right system for you, the idea of playing the right game.
Yes, this is so key. Clear argues that our genes don't determine our destiny, but they do clarify our areas of opportunity. Some people have a body type better suited for swimming than running. Some people have a personality geared towards deep, focused work.
So success isn't just about having good habits. It's about applying good habits in an arena that favors your natural strengths.
You want to find a game where the wind is at your back. Don't fight gravity, use it.
But how do you find that game? You can't try everything.
This is where the explore-exploit trade-off comes in. Early in a career or a new project, you should explore broadly. Try different things. That's maybe 10–20% of your time.
But once you find something that works, a system that gets results,
You shift into exploit mode for 80–90% of your time. You double down on what's working while still leaving a little room for exploration so you don't stagnate.
and if you can't find a game where the odds are good for you,
You create one. Scott Adams, the creator of Dilbert, is the classic example. He knew he wasn't the world's best artist or the funniest comedian,
right.
but he was a decent artist and pretty funny, and he had deep experience in the corporate world. By combining those three average skills, he created a niche where he had almost no competition. He designed his own game.
And finding that right game is what helps you stay motivated, which ties into the Goldilocks rule.
The idea that we are most motivated when we're working on tasks of just manageable difficulty.
Not too easy that it's boring, not so hard that it's demoralizing. Right on the edge of your current ability.
That's the flow state. That's the sweet spot. And this leads to what I think is one of the most profound insights in the book about what it takes to be a master.
Which is?
The greatest threat to long-term success is not failure. It's boredom.
Ah.
Mastery requires falling in love with the boredom of repetition. Professionals stick to the schedule when it's dull. Amateurs only show up when they feel motivated and excited.
And to maintain that professional system, you need reflection. You need system maintenance.
You have to. Clear does an annual review and an integrity report to make sure his systems are still aligned with his values and identity. It prevents that slow, gradual slide of 1% failures. You have to constantly ask, are my habits still casting votes for the person I want to become?
So when we pull it all together, this deep dive really clarifies that lasting change has very little to do with heroic willpower.
It's the predictable product of a well-designed system, a well-designed environment, and a relentless focus on identity.
The habits we do every day are just accumulating proof of who we are. And by making our cues obvious, our cravings attractive, our actions easy, and our rewards satisfying, we shift the weight of the system to our side.
It's fundamentally a process of gaining trust in yourself, of becoming who you decide to be.
And as we reflect on all this, it brings up a fascinating tension. The engine of all this is desire. As Clear writes, the source of all suffering is the desire for a change in state. This is also the source of all progress.
Desire drives us, but constant desire also makes us miserable.
Right. Which leaves us with a final provocative thought. It comes from the ancient Stoic philosopher Seneca, who said, being poor is not having too little, it is wanting more. If your desires always outpace what you achieve, you'll be permanently unsatisfied no matter how perfect your systems are.
So the ultimate challenge, then, is to design systems that harness that engine of desire to move you toward your highest identity, but to do it while managing that constant nagging tension between wanting and liking in your day-to-day life. How do you design a system that makes you 1% better without making you 100% more miserable?
We have been exploring James Clear's revolutionary guide, Atomic Habits. Tiny changes, remarkable results. If the ideas discussed today resonated with you, we encourage you to read the book yourself, support the author, or check it out from your local library.
For a shorter visual overview of this topic, see the mini explainer linked in the description.
If you enjoy systems-level analysis like this, please like, subscribe, and comment with books or topics you'd like us to explore next.